Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, I guess, the February edition of Métis Coffee Talk, coming to you live for this Wednesday, February 26th. My name's Keith Henry. I'm the president of the BC Métis Federation, and I'm joining you from the road. I'm currently dealing with multitasking with my tourism work. I'm at a conference in Montreal, and we have actually a fair number of Métis businesses here as well that are participating in that Indigenous tourism conference. So it's nice to see that, and yeah, it's been quite a powerful week, and I'll talk a little bit about that shortly. But yeah, I'm just going to jump right into the show. We've got some great entertainment and some information to share with members. Feels like it's been a long time, even though it hasn't. I just feel like it's been a lot that's happened since we've last broadcast Métis Coffee Talk. So I just want to say good evening to everyone that's online, and I will try to do my best to see if there's any conversation that I need to answer any questions about. But we definitely have some information, news, and stories that we're going to share. But I want to welcome back, well, almost full Spring Fever, the band there with our leader, Renee Therian, and his colleague Sean. They're joining us live from Terrace, British Columbia, and I think there might even be Roseanne in the background, helping with technical support.
Yes, she is. Yep.
Hello, guys. How are you all doing? How's Sean? How are you doing? I'll start with you first. How are you doing, Sean?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's always nice to be able to play with the fiddle man.
Perfect. And Renee, how are things going on your end?
It's going well. We've been playing quite a bit lately. We've been practicing. No, we're doing good. At Spring Fever, we're being asked to play quite a few plays. It must be just because of Spring Fever.
Yeah, exactly. Spring is almost here. They're getting
it's time. Yeah.
Dance. Yeah, it's time. Roseanne, how are things going on your end on the back? I know we can't see you on screen, but we can always hear like the voice of God with you. So how are you doing?
It's going great. We're just getting ready to make the big move for Skeena River over to our new office tomorrow.
Perfect. And we've actually, believe it or not, we've got a third guest that's joining us tonight. We'll bring Taylor McLeod on the screen. Taylor, good evening, and where are you joining us from?
Hi, Keith. I'm from Kamloops.
Yes, this is a very provincial, BC-wide special interview tonight with, well, actually, sorry, what am I saying? National-wide, Montreal to Terrace to Kamloops. And it doesn't, that's as large of an audience as it gets. But Taylor will be sharing an update. We'll reintroduce her to everyone, and she'll give us an update on some industry work. So thanks, Taylor, for joining us, and we'll come back to you in a few minutes, okay?
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, Renee and Sean, why don't we start? It's a Métis show. It happens, once a month. Last month I had to have recordings. This month we've got you live. So what's your first song you're going to play for us?
We're going to play an old tune that I've learned years ago called Red Wings.
Well, thank you very much, Renee and Sean. A great way to start the show for this month, and I really do appreciate that very much. I'll come back to you guys shortly. Actually, I'll just quickly, Renee, you said you're out Spring Fever, the group you guys have. You not only providing us some sort of Métis fiddle tunes on a monthly basis. What else are you guys doing up in the area? You said you've got some events you're doing coming up?
Yes, we've been quite busy lately. On the 8th, we were in Rupert. And then on the 25th, no, on 25th, we were in Rupert. We were in Terrace on the 8th, 14th, and then on the 15th. And next weekend, we're in Kitimat. So we're quite busy, actually. Yeah, I don't know why. They say they want some fiddle music. So why not? Why not Spring Fever?
Here we are. Yeah.
There you go. Well, perfect. Well, I'm very thankful for the work you guys are doing, and I might come back to you for some Q&A, but for now, I'm going to go on with the rest of the show, and I'll come back to you guys after. All right?
Okay, yep.
Perfect. Okay, I want to start by sharing just some information and updates for the members. I do really want to thank our partners at Nova Métis Heritage Association. We had a really nice turnout on February 9th in Surrey just a few weeks ago, just sharing a little bit about sort of why the history of the Métis, specifically of the reconciling the history of the Northwest Rebellion, or resistance, or whatever people want to call it. And so I just want to thank Nova, their president Harland, and of course Carrie and the board there, and actually all the members that showed up. We had a number of Federation members and some local folks that were just with Nova, and some were MNBC member, Métis Nation British Columbia cardholders. And we just talked about the importance of the history of that date and the relevance to many of our families. So I just want to first of all just thank everyone for that day together, and it was a very powerful day. And we've posted a lot of information. We did post some items prior on our Facebook and website, and I know we haven't talked about it since our last month, Métis Coffee Talk. But again, I just want to encourage other partner communities that want to learn more about why that history is so important to us, and sort of some of the what I feel is important protocols for November 16th each year. We would certainly be happy to share that and come out and present about that. It's about a 2 to 3 hour sort of a workshop, and certainly encourage people to think about that and learning a little bit more about Métis history and reconciling that history for many of our families. So I'll leave it at that, but just to say thank you to the members again. It was really a nice evening with everyone. I want to talk now next about what's coming up with the conservation, our conservation department. This was an event that happened. I want to thank them. They had the last conference was on February 8th. It was a smaller forum called Our Planet, Our Future. The conservation team was doing work. We had a Lower Mainland sort of forum, a very large conference that I spoke about here last month. And after that actual event, they went to Victoria on Vancouver Island and held a community event, or a larger event there as well. A community event there. It was meant to be just a focus on Vancouver Island members and so forth. And just want to say thanks to all the people that showed up. The team had a great time there. I know we've posted some impressive pictures about that. But just thank all the members that were there, and really appreciate the work that our team, Angel and Zia and the team, are doing on that front. Another nice thing that I saw happening in the Lower Mainland just a few weeks ago was the Greater Vancouver Métis community organization that we've been helping support to form. They had a memorable Métis movie matinee. It was a Saturday afternoon. I want to thank Daniel and Joe Desjardins that have really been helping pull that together. And it was watching the sort of the movie of How the Fiddle Flows. It was really well attended, and it's a nice movie about some of our Métis culture and the fiddle music and so forth, and sort of telling the story of the music and how it generated, sort of the evolution of it and these sorts of things. I just really know I had some really great feedback from some members, and just want to thank our team for making those community events happen lots of times we have community discussions, and I just like it when we just make it just a gathering. We provide some food, and they enjoyed, and it was actually held, we hosted at the Federation office in Vancouver. And yeah, it was just once again, you can see by the pictures, it was a nice turnout, and there was just good camaraderie amongst our Métis community in the Vancouver area. A big event that I participated with was the Canada-US Economic Summit. I was invited with my role with Indigenous tourism, but I don't escape the fact that I'm also the president of the BC Métis Federation. There is a lot of concern about the tariffs that are, every day we watch the news, and it's hard to predict, because just when we think tariffs are going to go ahead, they seem to stall on the US side, which was great. We don't want tariffs. So I was there as part of a discussion with the current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and about 140 other sort of key business partners in the country, talking about how we're going to address the economic impacts should tariffs unfold and actually be implemented against Canada by the US. This is a very, very serious concern for, and it should be for us. I've talked about it internally with our team, the Métis businesses, and you name it. It is a very serious situation. If 25% is realized, and we're hearing, different tariffs for different things, this is going to have a dramatic impact to our economy, and we will feel it in every way of our life, whether it's food, transportation, buying gas. We will feel it, and we're starting to realize that. So I was at this discussion. While I don't know what's going to happen, if there's going to be an election federally, there's so much uncertainty. It couldn't come at a worse time. What I know for sure is that we better prepare and have different strategies for different scenarios. So there's nothing more I really want to say other than that it was an honor to be there as a Métis person. I was really one of the only Métis people in the country that were there, and it was in Toronto. It was held, and I met the Prime Minister. I let him know that I'm also the president of the BC Métis Federation. I've met the Prime Minister prior on a number of occasions, and I just feel that I don't know how this is going to carry on. You see me a picture in the middle as well with the National Chief, Cindy Woodhouse-Nepenak. Had a good discussion with her about our concerns, and it's the woman beside her is the president of the Canadian Council for Indigenous Business, Tabitha Bull. And so there's only a handful of us Indigenous business leaders and some of the Indigenous politicians that were even invited to this. But we better all prepare. It'll impact Indigenous communities, whether you're First Nation, Métis, or Inuit, no matter what unfolds. And I know we're seeing the media talk about it, and we're seeing governments, provincial or federal or territorial governments talk about it. But we as a community need to also understand how it might impact us, and it absolutely will. I'm going to stop there for a second. Renee, I mean this with the utmost care and respect. You've been around our community for a long time, and you've seen different governments. What's your thoughts on the U.S. tariffs? Do you feel you're going to feel that in tariffs in your life, and have you thought about that, or is it a discussion in the Métis community up there?
Only what I've been hearing, actually. I'm a bit worried because maybe not only for me, but for the young generation coming up that's going to be making a living and buying houses, things going to go up. So I think it's going to hurt everybody if it does come through.
And Taylor, I'm going to bring you into this conversation because as our director of industry, you also handle a lot of procurement pieces, and I know we've kind of briefly talked about it. What do you hear from the business owners? Obviously, you're doing procurement on a number of projects, some of which are energy, of course. Is there growing concern amongst the business community there? Like, what are you hearing?
Well, I mainly deal with pipeline, oil and gas, truly. So, I mean, in that side of things, no, there's not a ton of worry about the tariffs. I think Trump had said something about 10% on oil and gas if he was going to put them through. But I do have friends in the modular home building business, which heavily relies on lumber. They're very, very concerned. Very concerned. This will impact their business detrimentally.
And I mean, so like I don't want to over dramatize it because it's not just a specific Métis issue, but our business community will absolutely feel it. So just imagine if like you're right on even if it's 10%, so that means we will pay 10% more to provide it as a raw product down there, and we're going to pay 10% more when it comes back. That's the problem with oil and gas that I think people haven't, because they were talking about the actual impact of this. If you're selling down there, they're going to charge you 10% the raw product, and if you're buying it back in the refined product, you pay it on the back end too. So I'll be very curious to see how this unfolds, and of course, obviously, when any energy goes up, that drives up the price of driving your car, drives up the price of flights. So I mean, all of these things impact us. Transporting food back into the country. I mean, it's just I worry. I really worry for us. I think maybe I don't want to over dramatize, like I said, but it's hard knowing what I know now. I feel that I think people hopefully can realize the importance of this conversation to us. So having said that, at the Federation, we're just trying to get our head around what this means. And we're working with our procurement partners. We'll just continue to see what the impacts are. So we'll leave it at that. But anything else you want to add about the tariffs at all, Renee or Taylor, on this particular piece? No.
Well, really, I hope it doesn't go through because it's going to hurt a lot of people. And yeah, I just hope that it be able to settle before it goes too far.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hope so. I'm not sure how that's going to feel, but anyways, why don't we break there for a music piece? I want to say hi. There's lots of people signed on tonight watching. I just want to say hi to Dawn and Jocelyn and of course Debbie Marion's on here and many others on here. David Doyle. Hey, David, how are you? Great to have you on here tonight. Obviously, a strong advocate of Louis Riel and whatnot. We all know that. And many others on here. So I just want to say good evening to everyone. If you have any questions, we'll answer it live. But why don't we take a break? Taylor, I'm going to come back to you next. But why don't we have a break with a song from our friends, of course, Sean and Renee, 2/3, I guess, of the band from Spring Fever. So what song are you going to play for us now, Renee?
I'm going to play an old tune that my mother wanted me to learn because my grandpa used to play it. It's called Do Si Do.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Renee. Another great tune. And what was what was the story you said with this? Your mother wanted you to learn?
Yeah, because my mother was in them days they had a lot of square dance, and she enjoyed to play to dance to that one. She says her dad, my grandpa, used to play that all the time, and she said you need to learn it. Well, I said I don't know it, so she hummed it to me, and then I think I got it.
Perfect. Well, it's nice to have those living memories, right? And of course, very important for our own families and our community. But I want to go now, thank you both, but I want to go back to Taylor and reintroduce her to everybody. Obviously, many of us know who Taylor is as our Director of Industry. But Taylor, you're working on a lot of stuff these days. Why don't you reintroduce the role you do and sort of some of the key projects you're working on? And then I think you're going to share some information about some of the work you're doing.
Absolutely. So my name is Taylor McLeod. Pre-Métis, my family comes out of Fort Nelson, so shout out to Old Fort Métis Nation. Partners with BCMF. I'm the Director of Industry Engagement. I take care of all of our pipeline project engagement for all major pipeline projects in British Columbia. Canada Energy regulated pipeline projects, I should note. I take care of all of our company partnerships as well. We're up to 45 companies now. Many of those are project referrals, so they're very happy with BCMF and what we're providing on the economic development side. There's no better what's the word, compliment than a referral from an actual project. So very proud of that. The last couple months, I've been dealing with consultation for two major upcoming pipeline projects. One of them has received approval, the Aspen Point program for Enbridge, which is what I'll talk about right now. I'll show you the project map. Jocelyn's on, so she'll know where this is. Let me know when you can see it.
Can't see it yet.
Let's do desktop. You guys will have to forgive me. I'm not a tech person. I'm a pipeline girl.
Well, you fit right in with this bunch, let me tell you. You're all good. When I'm one of the lead tech people, those that are techie will be like, uh-oh, they're in trouble.
It and be opened later. Okay, I can't share my screen, but I will go over some key points on the Aspen Point program. So this pipeline expansion and compressor station build was just approved by the Canada Energy Regulator. Construction will happen Q2 2025, so in the next couple of months. I just talked to our friends at Enbridge, and of course I'll let them give approvals to contractors and whatnot. But it's looking good to move forward for spring here. On this map here, we have 3 new compressors that are going to be built and 3 new pipeline segments. What's also different about this project is they have net zero requirements they have to meet. So what they've decided is they're going to have electrical powered compressor stations. So now not only are we building compressor stations, but we are building power lines. So that's a lot different than what the industry has seen before. So we'll see how that goes. I personally think it's kind of counterproductive. You know, on the environmental side, you have to clear so many more trees and cause so much more destruction than if you would just ran it off of diesel like before. So that's just my 2 cents on that. We also have the upcoming Sunrise expansion program with Enbridge again. This one is going to be more of a Trans Mountain-like project because of its scale. It's running all the way from the Fort St. John area down to Huntington, the Huntington terminal down in Vancouver. Multiple compressor station builds, multiple pipeline sections. We won't see any awards on that for a few months now. The focus will be on Aspen Point. And the other program that I've been working with is the Canada Energy Regulator, OPR, the Onshore Pipeline Regulations and Filing Manual Changes. So what's really cool about this program is that for the first time, the Canada Energy Regulator is bringing in Indigenous input to pipeline regulation changes. So what I'm going to do, or what I have been doing, is meeting with Indigenous contractors and Indigenous ECDEV community leaders to get their input on these proposed changes. I'm also going to be running 2 virtual meetings on March 10th and March 12th. We'll have Canada Energy Regulator experts online to discuss certain changes, pipeline changes that they're making. And that'll also be an opportunity for Indigenous folks from BC and Alberta to attend, get a look at these discussion questions and hopefully provide input directly to me. I'm collecting all of this data into a report. It goes back to the Canada Energy Regulator, and it'll help shape new pipeline regulations moving forward, which I think is really cool. So.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, that's great, Taylor. I mean, and obviously, like we do post information about the project filings and things like that online. And so things are on our website, and there's like some of those Aspen Point, like we have the stuff on our website at bcmétis.com for the members that are watching tonight. But I think it's probably just helpful to give a good update like you did there. That was great. I think there's still a couple. Is there any consultation things that you would like to invite members to? Is there anything coming up that there's, I can't recall what's in front of us right now, if there are, or if there's anything you want to encourage people to participate in and coming up?
I would encourage folks to participate in the virtual meetings. Craig, our lovely Craig, will be sending out or creating a registration link for me in the next couple of weeks. I just emailed him about that. And yeah, I'll make sure he blasts that out to all membership, and they can hop on and provide some input. It's needed, and it's creating change. I think it'll be awesome.
Perfect. And I just want to thank Taylor because the work we're doing, I just want to let the members and the partners know there's 2 pieces to the work we're doing that Taylor is leading, right? There's the regulatory consultation work, which is not all that fun and exciting, to be honest. It's around looking at regulations and giving feedback, and important though, we can't underestimate, because that actually is what sets laws on how these projects get approved or not. Ultimately, that's what government is doing. Do they issue permits, whether it's federal or provincial level? The decision is around when they consult, what they're trying to do is figure out there's all sorts of perhaps multiple permits that are required by the governing bodies. And they're trying to say, based on, is there any for us, is there any impacts to our way of life? Is there any, and et cetera, these sorts of things, right? Is there concerns about environment, concerns about, so Taylor's doing a very good job of getting us, at least more informed on that process. And then after that's done, once decisions are made and there's projects are proceeding, should the government decide to proceed, then Taylor flips her hat now, and she's now working with our number, as she said, over 40 partners to try and line up, is there employment opportunities? Is there going to be socioeconomic benefits? Is there procurement opportunities for our Métis business partners? All that stuff. So it's really important you connect with Taylor, and it's important you get involved wherever you can. So Taylor, how do people, can you share your email with everyone in case people want to reach out to you and ask you more questions about some of this work you're doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Procurement@bcmétis.com. Yeah, open. I'm always here for a conversation or even just to inform anyone if they're looking for any information.
Well, that's great, Taylor. Any final comments you want to say about the industry work you're doing?
I'm really, really happy with how this project, these Enbridge projects are moving forward in comparison to past projects, and how hard it was and how difficult it was for the Métis at the beginning stages. I'm really happy for where BCMF is at in these relationships and moving forward. And it's just going to we're going to do so well with our partners and with the project, and it's just a really good time for the Métis. I know you stated before the consultation, it's not fun, and it's really boring. It's just lawyers arguing and all their lawyers speak and letters, but it's important for the Métis to be at the table. We were given a seat at the table, as we should be. And we just got to make sure we're there and showing up and making sure there's a voice for Métis.
Perfect. So if anyone wants to get involved, there's some opportunities to you can email, there will be a BC Métis Federation email going out to the memberships as we do with the weekly updates. It'll be part of that. You can register. It's a simple form. Just do that if you want to get involved on that's if I understood, just to correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the onshore pipeline regulatory process that you're talking about. There's two, I believe, coming up. So we can get involved that way. And if you want to just listen in, I've been to part of one of the meetings. It's quite informational, and you'll get an appreciation of what Taylor means about how, it's not super exciting, but it's very academic, and you need to be, but it's good for people to learn, because if they wonder why things can't just change overnight, there's all these rules and regulations, and you really got to understand how the process works to make it effective. So get involved, look for the email, and if you have any questions, just contact Taylor at procurement@bcmétis.com. So Taylor, thank you very much. Any final last thoughts, questions, anything you want to say?
No, that was great. Yeah, reach out anytime, and thanks for having me on.
Perfect. You're getting a lot of fan love, by the way, on the Facebook page. I'm seeing awesome job, Taylor. Great report. Blah blah blah. Usually when I say something, if someone's hacking away at everything I say, so there you go. Your heads and tails above me already. Thanks so much, Taylor. Okay. You're welcome to stay on board too. So Renee, why don't we have a break for some music, and we'll just give some another song for our friends online.
Okay.
Once again, thanks, Sean and Renee, for another great song. And that's a well-known Métis fiddle song for many of us, but really enjoyed listening to that and really appreciate that work. Renee, do you think you're going to sign in for those regulatory virtual meetings?
Well, I might, and it's very interesting. I think we should, everybody should, because it's very important to do that.
Yeah, it really is. I think people, because they're like, oh, we need to be consulted with, but they actually don't know what it like. It's been my experience that people hear the lingo, but they don't really understand what, there's only certain things you can do in the regulatory process. So it's like it's like a mini court process, and just helping people understand that is really important. So I hope people do just I hope they listen in, if nothing else, just attend to listen in. It's it'll be a pretty much a 4 to 6 hour day, just to sort of, they go through a number of processes with the regulatory piece and some thoughts around the onshore pipeline regulations. I encourage people to join. I encourage you to join as well, Renee. So yeah, good information on that for sure by Taylor. I do want to cut us forward to just a couple other updates, and then there's an important topic I want to talk about before we sign off today. I want to thank our partners at the Métis Association of Central Okanagan. I know there's some folks online from the Métis Association of Central Okanagan, and I'm not sure all of them, but I see, Rick, one of their board members, Rick Bone. He's the gentleman that provided Renee you the walking stick at our annual general meeting. He carved me a really nice stick as well, and super nice man. And I just want to say hi, Rick. But I thought I would mention that as we're going into this piece. But they were out promoting Métis culture and heritage. It was Heritage Week in Kelowna on February 17th. And they had an information booth in that. And I just want to thank, you can see in the photo here, that's actually, many of us know Greg Mazur. That's one of his sons that's there with the beard. And I just want to, I feel so good about the fact that his son is somewhat involved in, trying to help out where he can with Mako. And of course, a number of the other individuals, that Rick is actually on the far right of that photo. So that's great to see the team there. And I just want to say thank you for your work to advocate and promote Métis culture, which is so important. And, obviously for reasons for us as our own well-being, and of course that of others. Cultural awareness seminar. I know that Jocelyn is online watching tonight. I don't know how the cultural awareness seminar went, but they hosted one up at that Peace Region Métis Community Association. So Jocelyn, thank you very much for the work you're doing up at Fort St. John. I know it's not easy, and probably you feel at times you're alone and you're not sure how to make things work, much like Mako and Nova and all these other partner communities, and of course yourselves and Terrace. You're always trying to figure out a way to get people engaged and involved. So, cultural awareness seminars, things like that, they're so important. And I just want to say thank you to our partners in Fort St. John for the work you're doing to support cultural awareness. And then another really great workshop, another way that the Métis Association of Central Okanagan continues to try and get people engaged at the community level. I want to thank them for their work last weekend at this past weekend with the on the 22nd, the Métis.art workshop program. It was rock painting. If you've been on our website, we've got a number of these images there, and it's just a community activity, right? They're getting members in, having some just building their kinship networks, just nothing political, and just enjoying some time and having some fun with art. And I'm not sure who everyone that was facilitating, but I just want to say thank you to the community. This is the kind of things that actually bring community together, and I just want to acknowledge that and just thank them for that work. And then I know that our team was also with the Conservation Department as well. They were up in Prince George. Our conservation team has been so incredibly busy. I want to just acknowledge the work of Zia and Angel, and of course many of the used to be the coastal water protectors, but just a number of their team members that are volunteering and helping out. There was a Growing Roots Conservation Connection workshop on February 22nd, and we've provided some other information on our website. But just really I want to thank the members that came out and the individuals that came out that day. I've been on the road, so I don't actually know what kind of turnout they had, but I just want to say thank you for the work you did. I know they made the journey up, and I haven't had all the feedback yet on this individually from our team, but that's not their fault. It's just because I've been on the road the last multiple days. So I just want to say thanks to the team for the work they're doing there. I guess I will ask though, Terrace, how was your, Growing Roots, the Conservation Connection, the workshop in Terrace? We've got Renee and Roseanne on board. Renee, how was the workshop for you guys over in Terrace? The other, obviously just a handful, just about a week ago.
I attended it, and it was one of the best I ever attended. They done a great job, Leah. They explained everything, and I thought it was great. No, both of them did an excellent job.
Yeah, for the members that are people that are online watching, what are we doing at this workshop? Like help people just get a general sense of what's happening, or maybe Roseanne, if you want to help out with that.
I'll chime in. So they're looking at what they can do for our community, for our region, as far as bringing everyone to the table to talk about things like wildfire and things that are affecting our community with global warming and that kind of thing. So we kind of had some discussion around what would be a good idea to have them come and do. I think one of them was a bit of a talk about a forum. We did have some people from the Heisla band that joined us, and it was really nice. It was really good for all of us to be there together.
Well, that's great. That's great to see Métis and First Nations in the area working together. We know we face some challenges, and we know that, and I'm going to talk about that at the end of this. But I do think I'm really thankful for you guys bringing that, and it's like Growing Roots. The Conservation Connection is to really just facilitate a conversation at the community level to get more people involved in conservation efforts. We're holding these forums, and then now the spinoff is this, and I know we fully intend to announce some exciting new initiatives shortly on the conservation work we plan to do. So I just want to say thank you guys, both Renee and Roseanne. Did you guys have a reasonable turnout? How was the turnout for the event?
We must have about 8, 10, I think.
About 10 people.
Yeah, and there was lots to eat. Of course, sweet stuff.
Yeah, if you don't feed them, they will
But-
definitely not come. You have to have food for sure. Like that's a Métis thing. Oh, I think it's a lot of Indigenous community thing, but it's definitely, yeah.
But I have to say they did an excellent job. They explained why they changed name to conservation, and it definitely made sense to us. And no, I was amazed how good they've done.
Well, that's great. And I see Mako's getting on and commenting, and thank you to whoever's running the handle with Mako. I appreciate that, knowing that because we want to make sure these programs are just getting the community. We're trying to find ways to help at the partner community level, just get people out, not everything has to be so negative politics and stuff like that. And I just really feel, I appreciate it. And thanks, Renee and Roseanne, for sharing that insight with everyone tonight. I know Angel and Zia will be, very, very, very pleased to hear that, of course. So one of the other things coming up, though, there's a new episode. If you are following the conservation team, there's insights from the Generations of Wisdom retreat with Travis Fleet. They've now added episode 13 onto our podcast. So, if you're checking out podcasts, it's an episode with Travis Fleet. It's a facilitator during the recent Generations of Wisdom retreat in Tofino. Travis shared his insights into the dynamic conversation that unfolded amongst participants, highlighting the meaningful exchanges between youth and elders. So we're sharing this information, we're being transparent, we're promoting it. I'd say to everyone, if you want to hear about it, go to the BC Métis, the Aqua Agenda, I might add, it's called the Aqua Agenda podcast. And you can simply listen to it, right? It's on Spotify, and you can check it out. And the Aqua Agenda podcast, you can just check out episode 13 if you want to hear some of the latest information. I encourage you to think about that because we're really obviously trying to focus a lot on conservation in the world that we live in today. That's extremely important. Oh, sorry, I'm just sort of skipping through here. I want to just sort of pivot here a little bit. I know, Renee, why don't we do a song so I can get set up for the next segment of the presentation. I'm not sure what song you want to go with, but why don't you pick a song and just let us know what you're going to sing.
Okay. Sunny's breakdown. 2-step on A.
Thanks again, Renee and Sean. Great song. It's really appreciate that.
Welcome.
I know people online love listening to the Métis fiddle, probably more than me rambling most nights, but thank you for that and adding that to the show, of course. I really, really, really appreciate that very much from both of you. I do want to switch my topic because I want to end the show with this. It's a bit of a heavy conversation. Many of you know, as you saw in the picture, with my work with Indigenous tourism, I'm dealing with that on a number of fronts, and we do have a lot of actually members that are Federation members that are involved and actually own Indigenous tourism businesses within British Columbia, and of course many other Métis businesses in the country. And so I really like how it complements in many ways the work I feel, because it's around sharing culture. And so I'm always in this difficult spot because I feel like I'm very objective and fair in that, of course, but because I'm Métis, sometimes it is what it is. There's jealousy, there's things that happen that I get troubled by. I don't work and worry about what people think in that regard, but there's no doubt this First Nation Métis thing for some people has become quite challenging. I want to reassure you though, that work of people like me are trying to build bridges with First Nations in a good way, and most of the time it works. I have to tell you, I just to share with you. So what am I talking about? So I'm at the conference this week. It's called the International Indigenous Tourism Conference. It's hosted because of my role with the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada. And what is it? So let me show you a picture of what it is. It's 1,000 delegates in Montreal right now. There's people here from 10 countries. The US, Australia, New Zealand, Colombia, Chile, Panama, Germany, France. There's people from all over, and a number of First Nations and partners from across Canada. It's a very large forum. And this is just to give you a one sort of angle from the back of the room, and it's 3 days of showcasing culture and good practices in Indigenous tourism. And I got to tell you, I personally wear my work with Indigenous tourism and my work with the Federation as a badge of honor. I'm really thankful for the work I do, and I don't hide from it. Things that it allows me to do is to find relationships with many First Nations in a good way, a healthy way, to show that we as Métis people are Indigenous people as well. I had another opportunity today to have a good conversation with the National Chief, Cindy Woodhouse-Nepenak, and she's very supportive of Indigenous people being successful in business. And so I don't bring her into the politics at all. It's not my place to do that, but I'm building those relationships in a way that hopefully will help us. Once we know each other, I always feel things are better. But for the first time ever, and some of you may have saw this on my Facebook, and I am going to play a bit of it tonight because I decided, because of my role there, like I'm very passionate as a business leader to build successful businesses in Indigenous tourism, and I'd like those to be cultural business. I'd like to see more Métis people, more Métis people involved in Indigenous tourism. Because I think as we promote culture, we actually help ourselves, our children, the people around us learn more about who the Métis people are. I know we do that in our organizations, but we also need to create an objective platform to share culture with the world, so we can help educate, that we're not just some loose-knit group of people, because some people, as we know, think that. So for the first time ever, I shared in front of the forum. I wanted to share about my family, and some of you have seen parts of this, so I kept. But what we were doing, we're dealing with at a time when there's a lot of lateral violence. Never mind just Métis, but if you're non-status or you're from certain other First Nation communities, there seems to be this warfare going on with some, not all, very few, but they're there and they're very loud around identity. So I just want to share a video I shared, and I'll explain after why. And it's about 6 or 7 minutes. I just hope you can be patient, because I do think it's important because I want my Métis community that I work with and my friends here to know what I've said publicly, and I always stand behind that. So please just bear with me. I'll show this and then we'll come back. I'll talk about it after. To fit in, and so we hammer each other down at times. And I ask, if you're not Indigenous, just don't let us. We'll solve that. It takes time. But I don't like to get into it because I think all of us come from different communities, including myself. So I'm just going to share a short little bit about myself, because I've faced a lot of it. And I'm embarrassed of myself. What you see here is some photos. The first one on the upper left hand is my great-great-grandfather, Maurice Henry, with his wife, Blandine Ross. My family is at river lots, and maybe some of you that don't know it, the Métis and some First Nations went to war with Canada in 1885. My family was there. My ancestors were killed. My great-great-grandfather and his brothers were tried and convicted of treason. It wasn't just Louis Riel. There was 25 people convicted of treason, and that's my family. Not all of them, but many of them. So the irony today for me is, I'm trying to use tourism. The irony is, I feel of all the work I've done, I decided to make my career in tourism because I really feel when we share culture and we understand each other, we heal. I truly, fundamentally believe that. I was a teacher, much like Tara. To be honest, 3 years of it, there's no way I'm going to be a teacher after 3 years. However, I love the profession, very noble profession. Top middle years, which is probably the worst choice. I watched too many videos about spending, delivering. You can change children's mind one at a time. Until you get told F off every day. I don't know if you're going to believe that after a year of that. But anyways, love the kids. Difficult, very difficult. Anyways, tourism's far easier. But I see there's such an important role that each of us play, our board plays, the members out here play, the partners that don't understand and need to play. We have to help people heal. That is when I talk about reconciliation, this is my efforts towards reconciliation. I want to help my family correct what I feel is a historic wrong. It's hidden in plain sight. People don't want to talk about these things. They think Indigenous issues were just First Nation. They were not. Where I live in BC now, and I get people telling me, you're not really Métis, you're in BC anymore. How? I don't understand that. I never grew up that way. I didn't take a job because I claimed Métis identity. I took a job because I needed a job. I was already Métis. Like, we've got to move past that. And in this situation with these photos, I just want to share with you, I've documented my history. It took me 50 years of my life to come to terms with this. We knew about it in the family. We talked about it. My grandparents were ashamed. They didn't want to admit it. I watched my grandma would say to me, you've got to fit in, be white, don't be en sauvage. And if you live in the Chief French, that's not a good term. And so we did as kids. There's a picture of me and my brothers. We fit in. We played hockey. We did everything we could to say we were French, but we weren't Métis. So what drives me today is to help correct that. When I look at that photo, you see a man laying dead. That's my great-great-great-grandfather was killed on the last day of the Batoche on May 12, 1885. His name was Donald Ross. You know where I saw that photo the first time? I was in grade 3, 4 in Prince Albert. We went to Batoche Historic Site. They showed the pictures of all the slain Métis villains. As a kid, I sat there and went, wow, good job, Canadian soldiers, because I was led to believe that was the good side. And then as an adult, I realized, my God, I'm related because they're my direct family that they showed me. Do you know how painful that is? I'm a strong person. I gotta tell you, I spent time just trying to accept how foolish I was. I didn't know. And unless you've experienced that, I don't know how you would ever put words to that. Because I'm not dealing with it. I'm helping my family deal with it now, and we're just dealing with it. So our goal now is to use whatever tools we can to do 2 things. We want to see our family members that were listed as treasonous Canadian people exonerated, and we just want to bring pride back to our family and help them know their history, because our family has tuned that all away. I only shared clips, and why I know this stuff is because we've set out as a family to do the research. We found it was everything. It was in journals. Blandine and my great-great-grandmother Blandine and great-great-grandfather Maurice after Batoche was done, the Canadian soldiers. My home is Turon-Cooley, is Fish Creek. There was about 40 households there.
After the war was done, they burned all the houses to the ground, they looted everything, and everyone fled. Those were all my family. We don't have a community anymore. All we've got is a network of family that's connected by kinship now. We can't undo that. We can't change that history, but we can make it better. So when it comes to the work I do, I just want to I have two boys here, and sorry I'm being such a softie. Good God, I feel like so embarrassed right now. But it really is touching for me, and I want you to realize the seriousness of it, because I want to make sure my sons never feel the way I felt. I know they haven't been already because people have tried to tell them they're not Indigenous enough, or they're not Métis enough, or they don't walk around with a sash at their hip every day, and they don't jig every day, and they don't feel. I don't even know. I hear people make stuff up about me and our people that I don't understand. But I just want to make sure that we are all on the same journey. You out there, whether you're First Nation status, non-status, urban Indigenous, Inuit, Métis, we are struggling to reconcile this past. And I just ask us to be soft and gentle and allow that healing. And cultural tourism will work really well when we do this right. And that's when we talk about 10 years of where we've come from. I'm proud to say to everyone in here, without getting into the demographics, I look at these strong women. We didn't have these people. I was here at the beginning of this organization. I started this journey in 2005.
I just wanted to share that because I want our Métis community to know that when I get into these rooms, I'm trying my best for us, for whatever it's worth to anyone online tonight. I'm trying to help them understand who we are, because there's just most people do, and most people care, and most people allow that. But I just want to assure the members, all of us out there, and I didn't get into my full history. It wasn't that, but that was like the opening, and that room was packed, about 1,000 people. And I just wanted people to know, like, I may wear a suit and tie, but that's I do to I can be accepted in the business community. It's something I've done since I've been running organizations since I was 27. Hasn't always been easy, made mistakes, but I try my best to try to help people understand. And that I see this growing lateral violence. It's playing itself out in Indigenous tourism. It's playing itself out in the Métis community, communities across the country. People are saying this person, that organization's not right. This one's not right. We don't even know these people, and we're prejudging. So I don't want to. I guess from my perspective, I don't want to belabor the issue forever. Oh, sorry about that. But I just want to say that I just want the members and the partners to know, and I don't want to also make a big scene about it. But I know a lot of members don't know what I face. I know people see some of the lateral violence that I get. But, I was very sincere in what I did with this event. And I just, let me show you what I face on a daily basis, for those of you that don't realize. I know because internally we like to fight amongst ourselves, and we like to argue and think this person's wrong, that person's wrong. But let me share with you just a little glimpse. So I do that, and I put myself out there. I haven't done that before with that group. I've always been proud Métis. I've always said it, I've claimed it, but I've never really told any of those folks what I said to us as a community. With some of you will know what I'm talking about, where I've really started to share my story more so. But here's what I face, the wrath of after, and I just think it's so disappointing that some people would behave this way, to be quite honest. This is so someone here, this person's First Nation from New Brunswick. She said, fancy suit and moccasins, nice touch. Funny thing is that the only people identity politics hurt are real Indigenous communities. Power struggle, he says, LOL, watering down our ceremonies and sacred circles. Nice way to turn it around. Through those tears must have took practice. Start with your board on this speech and lecture if you wanted to walk the walk on your talk. Stay silent and hiding behind your laptop in fancy hotels does no one any good. I know this person, and this individual it's so disgusting to read this. Like, at a personal level, I find this, but I face this all the time, to be honest with you guys. There's not a day goes by that I don't have some email or some toxic message in somewhere. I block most of them so guys don't see it, but I just want to say that it's hard to put yourself out there because you got to deal with this. And all I'm saying is I'm never going to back down from that. I just feel sorry for this person because I think this is on them, not me. But just to all of you, please stand your ground. I share this not to feel sorry for me. I share this because we have to be proud of who we are, and we have to stand up for who we are, and we have to make sure that we don't let identity politics and attempted things to nail us down and bully us will ever work. And I feel sorry for this person. I really do. I don't know why she would say that. I'm not professing to be an expert in everything, but I will not have her define who I am as a Métis person to mock me for my story. That story has ripped my family a serious hole in our heart, and I find it really disappointing. So I just want to share that. I just want to let you know that I'm doing what I can. When you don't see me in community there, I'm assure you that the work never stops. And next week, I just want to end with this. I'm on my way to Ottawa with our Vice President, Earl Belcourt, and one of the board members, Robin McClay. We've got a series of meetings set up next week with government and partners and that, and I look forward to reporting to the board and to the members after. We'll be there on the 5th and 6th, and we've set up a series of both from a program perspective and a leadership perspective, tackling this. And I haven't talked about it in a long time. Be aware that we are also working our way through our court case. And so I think I find the more we've done and the more we build a strong organization, the more we get attacked, and that's okay. I expect that, but I don't want what I want to say to all of you, because I know some of you face that in other ways. Please never ever stop being who you are, and don't let that stuff stop you, because that can never. We can't let people tell us who we are or who we're not. I will never ever allow that to happen. So, anyways, enough of that soapbox stuff, but. Renee, Roseanne, any response to that? I know you guys, I don't think it's such a big issue for you up, or maybe it isn't Terrace at times, but thoughts, any feedback before we end the show tonight?
Well, I think people are people, and I think we got to take the high road, and I think you're doing right. And what can I say? We just got to work. We just got to work around it.
Yeah, that's right. Any thoughts, Roseanne, before we sign off tonight?
Well, it takes a village, Keith, and you got all of us, and we all love and care for you, and we all know your struggle, and many of us have gone through the same things ourselves, whether it was growing up and attending Catholic school or what have you else. It may not be the same, but it's similar in nature, and yeah, we're all here for you.
It's so funny because that these people that are doing this have decided that they're going to say that you can't be Métis unless you're accepted by the First Nation as defined to be a Métis, or it's a blood quantum. That's really what they're getting at. It's you have to be, some sort of miraculous number, but we know that's not how we've ever defined Métis, and we know that's never been the process for us. What we've said is there's a genealogical connection and a cultural understanding or lived experience of culture, which I have. My grandparents spoke Michif language. We were part of the Métis community since I was a little kid, going to meetings. Like, I don't know what this person's talking about. They know nothing about my life. So I'm just saying to you, please, everyone, be strong with this, and thank you guys for the comments, and I really appreciate it. Let's end the show with one last quick song. We're running a bit late, but I just wanted to talk about that. But let's end on a good note. Renee, Sean, give us a good positive song to end the show with tonight, and then I'll sign us off. Okay?
Okay, we'll do one on a dance jig.
Well, thanks again, Sean and Renee and Roseanne. I really appreciate your work. Any final comments tonight?
I think it was a good show, and keep up with the good work. And I hope to come back to BC one of these days. You've been out of town quite a bit these days.
I want to come home. Trust me, I can't even come home till the weekend. I'm like, oh my goodness. Anyways, I miss all of you. Thank you again, Renee. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate you on the show again. And Roseanne, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, with that, we will find a way to, of course, now, I thought I had it all queued up, ready to go. I should have known that I wasn't quite ready, but with that, I will say, my name's Keith Henry. I am the president of the BC Métis Federation. I'm very proud of the work we do, and I thank you for joining us this evening, and watch for news and updates and information, and get involved with the regulatory online processes, and let's keep building community here. Our children need us, and we all need to stand strong as proud Métis people in British Columbia and across Canada. Good night, everyone.